Welcome back, folks, to Let's Replay Beneath the Steel Sky, and when last we left off, we had a long conversation with Mrs. Piermont, who gave us a lot of information about the plot of the game, and I've only just made the connection between Mrs. Piermont in this game and Lady Piermont in Broken Sword. I imagine everybody else made that connection a long time ago. Either way, Mrs. Piermont sponsored us into St. James's Club, a less than impressive place, but the way we have to go to progress. Unfortunately, we can't get access to the wine cellar because we need to get a copy of the fingerprints of the manager of the club, Colston. We'll be doing that eventually, but first we must engage in shenanigans over here. But before that, there are two statues that I could look at that I didn't notice before. I wonder if I've ever noticed them in any playthrough I've ever done. Let's have a look at them, shall we?
The big guy's sacks are spilling their contents.
Can we take anything from those sacks?
Nothing I could use that statue for.
Fair enough. What about this statue? Anything good here?
It's a little man carrying a log.
Can we take the log?
Nothing I could use that statue for.
Fair enough. Without further ado, it is time to engage in shenanigans. That dog has definitely found something interesting. That interesting something is the pile of dog biscuits that I've put on the plank. Observant people may know what's going to happen soon, because we need to distract the officer here who's having a conversation with Mrs. Piermont.
I'd better not interrupt them.
Oh, we'll be interrupting them, Foster, just not with conversation. It's time for the dog to have a little swim, as it were. Let's use the rope and give the dog access to those treats. I'm sure nothing will go wrong. Everything's going to go wrong. For the dog. Up you go!
What was that splashing noise? Where has Spunky gone? Officer Blunt, come and help me, quickly!
Mission accomplished. Officer Blunt has moved over to the pool/pond and is trying rather ineffectually to rescue the dog. We can go into the cathedral, but we have a very small window of opportunity to have a conversation with both Officer Blunt and Mrs. Piermont and get some unique dialogue. So let's talk to them first. Hello. Why don't you just go in and get the dog? Seems quite simple to me.
Why don't you jump in and grab him?
Well, I'd ruined my uniform. Why don't you save it?
I grew up in the Gap. I can't swim.
As far as reasons go, that's a pretty good one, Foster. One more thing we can ask about, and that is if he saw the event in question. Who wants to bet the answer to that is going to be no?
Did you see the dog fall in?
It's my job to be observant. To memorize every moment in minute detail.
So how did the dog get in the lake?
That's obvious. Either he was blown by a freak gust of wind, or else it was a suicide bid.
Clearly you didn't see the event at all, and we finally have confirmation that this isn't a pond or a pool, it's a lake. Hello, Mrs. Piermont. A tricky situation your dog's in, eh? I've no idea how that happened. Let's just talk to you quickly before you figure it out.
Oh, Robbie, can you help?
What's the problem?
Poor Spunky's in the lake.
He looks as if he's enjoying it.
He hates water.
That aside, we have a cunning plan to get him back. We lured the dog over with those dog treats. Why don't you just use them to get the dog out? I'm sure it'll work.
Try offering him doggy snacks.
An excellent idea, Robert. It's a pity Officer Blunt didn't think of that.
It's a pity the mutt can swim it all.
I'm sure the dog will be fine. There's one more thing we can talk about, and that is that the dog will likely get out of the water when he's tired.
He'll stop paddling when he's tired.
But then he'll sink. You men are useless.
It's only a dog, love.
I shall report you, Blunt. And don't call me that.
With all the dialogue dealt with, it's time to go into the cathedral. I'm sure they won't notice. Apart from Mrs. Piermont, who's looking directly at us, but I think she's a little bit too distracted with the predicament with her dog to really notice what we're doing. Quick, Foster! Super stealthy entrance, go!
Just for a second, you scared me. But you're only dummies.
A large amount of them, too. Also, the music disappearing here makes this place really eerie and sinister. I like the effect. Let's have a look at these dummies up close, shall we? And hope they don't kill us.
They're not human. Someone's been making androids.
Well, that's quite a plot twist, eh? But who would be making androids?
They must have switches to activate them somewhere. Damned if I'm gonna look for them, though.
A sensible line of thinking there. Don't activate the android that could possibly want to kill you. We're going to save. We'll get a new save slot right here. We'll save it as 13. And go over here. And see something quite awesome.
A ventilation shaft. Better keep away from the edge, or I'll get sucked off.
It's a really great view here, and I don't think you can die here. We are standing here, nothing's happened, but there's nothing to look at either, so really, it's just a very nice view, and now we'll leave. We may be back there later, we may not. There's only one more place we can look at, and that is down here. There's no music here at all. There are 5 lockers, a cabinet, and a trolley. And you can't look at that light. Let's look at the trolley and the cabinet first, shall we?
It's a kind of bed with wheels.
Anything on it?
The wheels are locked in place.
So no. What about the cabinet?
There could be something useful in there.
There could be.
Wouldn't you know it? It's locked.
Well, that's ruined our plan. Can we open it with anything? We could use the metal bar and try and pry it open. No, we can't. Which just leaves these 5 lockers here. Let's look at them, shall we? See what's inside.
There aren't any markings on it, or locks.
I think that description is there for all 5 of them. So let's open them. Oh. Well, that's grim. There's a body in here.
You don't look so healthy. You should get out in the sunshine.
I don't think that person has any control over what they're doing anymore.
His skin is cold, like plastic.
Oh dear. I'm a little wary about opening this locker now, but we must. There's another body in here.
This place is spooky.
You're telling me, Foster.
His skin is cold, like plastic.
What about this locker here? Another body.
He doesn't have any eyelashes.
Curious observation.
His skin is cold, like plastic.
And finally, this locker. In here is just a head.
Yo, that's horrible.
Indeed.
I don't think a severed head would be any use.
We are not adding that to our inventory, which leaves this locker here in the middle. You may wonder why I've left this one till last. It's time to find out why.
Oh no, not her, not Anita.
I'm afraid so. Anita is dead.
Her skin is burnt and blistered.
Indeed it is.
She appears to have been exposed to radiation.
A very fatal dose of radiation. There's nothing you can do to try and rescue Anita. There's one curious thing about this event, however. Right up until you open up this middle locker, Anita is up at the top of Erie Tower Block alive and well. Opening this locker removes Anita from there and leaves Anita here. if you hadn't gone all the way back up to have a look and see if Anita's there, this really doesn't matter, because you'll have spent your time on the very ground level, doing things like talking to Mrs. Piermont, and so it makes sense that something could have happened in the meantime. But if for some reason you've gone all the way back up to the very top, gone to where Anita is, and then immediately gone down to here, this would be a bit of a disconnect. It's just a quirk of the event-driven nature of this game. As it stands, all we can do is leave Anita there, and perhaps avenge her. Who killed her? And why? We may get answers to those questions later. There's nothing more we can do here. We've got all the answers that we need. So we'll leave. Officer Blunt and Mrs. Piermont and the dog are now gone. There is somebody we can talk to about what we've seen. We can speak to the person outside St. James's Club. Maybe they'll have some advice to give us, or maybe not.
Excuse me.
We can ask what he would do if he found a body.
What would you do if you found a body?
Go through its pockets.
No, seriously. A girl I know has been murdered.
It's a sign of the times. There's nothing as cheap as human life. With the exception of this club. How do you know it was murder?
I only met her a few hours ago, and she was fine then.
My advice is to keep quiet. You can't help her now, so look after yourself. Or you might wake up dead one morning.
This is another reminder that this world is grim. Very grim.
Never mind.
Is there anyone else that has any dialogue related to this? Down here, anyway. I know there's one person further up that does have some dialogue, and we're going to be talking to that person when the time comes. We'll use the exit here. I thought the exit would be over there. It's over here. There's still these two here. We can see if Vincent has anything to say, or if the gardener has anything to say. I get the feeling no, still worth checking. Nothing here with Vincent.
Don't wear out your thumbs.
And anything with the gardener?
Excuse me.
In your own time, gardener. Ah, there is something with the gardener.
Do you know a girl called Anita?
Maybe I do, maybe I don't. Why do you want to know?
She's been murdered. I found her body in the cathedral.
Can't see why you're telling me.
I think he does know Anita. He's not exactly the best person at lying. We'll be back to you later. For now, we're going to head back up to the very top of the Eerie Tower block, because with the death of Anita, something has changed up there, and we can go somewhere we haven't been before. Up we go! It doesn't take us very long to get back up to the very top. This elevator is right next to the other elevator. A great thing because it expedites you getting to areas you've already been to. I like that bit of design. I don't think there's anything we can really talk to about with any of the people on this level, so up we go to the very top. We don't need to wait for Joey. Joey is unfortunately out of commission. But we can talk to Lamb. Lamb may know something about what happened to Anita, so let's ask him.
Hey, Lamb.
Just give him a little while to finish considering what's going on. There we go. What does Lamb know about Anita's death? Let's find out. Interrogation time!
What do you know about Anita's death?
I don't know what you're talking about.
The girl you sent to the reactor. She's been killed, Lamb.
Look, I don't know aught about murder. You might think I was hard on the lass, but I had nothing to do with her death.
As terrible as Lamb is, I believe him. Somebody else killed Anita. We just don't know who. Lamb doesn't have the authority to make any orders after all. Not since we D-Linked him. So let us go further into the factory. Quite a ways into the factory. And while we're here, we can have a conversation with Potts. There are a few things we haven't spoken to Potts about.
Excuse me.
I'm sure Potts has some time, after all. It's not like there's much he can work on right now. We can ask about the conveyor. Not a bad conversation topic.
Aren't you gonna mend the conveyor?
That's not my job. My job is to record figures.
But everything stopped.
My clipboard still works.
But what about the pipes?
What pipes?
The ones on the conveyor belt.
That's a special order. And I can't talk about it. Top secret, huh? That's right.
Well, we can look at the pipes, but we can't really glean much about what the pipes are used for. We're not really an expert in the topic.
Mind if I look around?
Since you're a friend of Lamb's, you can go where you like. But I'd stay clear of the reactor if I was you. Unless you're wearing some protection.
We probably should have had this conversation before we went this way, but we didn't, and now we have. With Anita gone, there's nobody here, not even the person that we couldn't understand, which means that when we open this locker, this is going to be here. We're going to need this if we're going to go into the reactor, which is where we're going.
Plastic overalls. Not very fashionable.
But hopefully they'll protect you from all of that radiation that killed you last time. Let's change it to something more appropriate. There we go! Now we're protected, and now you've seen the jumper that Potts was so fascinated by. It looks very warm and comfortable. Let's go in. And let's use this. And open up the door again. This time, we won't perish. Let's open the door. And exit. And step in. It looks very blue in there. That's what we're looking for. That link card. And we can have a look at this while we're here.
The power in those things gives me the willies.
It's a good thing we can understand Foster, otherwise all we'd hear is and I think I'm going to save, just in case I find a way to perish here. Shall we try and do something with the core?
If it wasn't for the heat shield, I'd be frazzled.
Let's not do something with the core. There's this link card though.
It's an ID card, minus the security logo.
Let's grab it. And let's get out of here. We've got nothing more that we need to get from here. I don't think we need to close the door, but I'm going to close the door because I don't want anybody else to get hurt by all the radiation. Let's close it. There we go. Much better. Let's have a look at that card that we got. The plastic card bears a holographic image of Anita, confirming that this is Anita's card, and also confirming how she died. We could walk about with this on, but I feel like we should get our coat back on. But maybe I should go this way and see if Potts reacts to the fact that we're wearing this. Why not? Let's give it a go!
Don't wear that suit out here. It's probably contaminated.
And back we go. Worth trying just to get that dialogue. Let's switch back to our coat.
It might be old, but my coat is cool.
You'll get no objections from me. Time to change back. There we go. And we might as well close the locker. Let's be nice and tidy about it all, eh? with Anita's card, we can go back to the security place and use that card to get access to Link space. And we will be. But that will be for next time, folks, for when we come back, we'll start taking the steps to avenge Anita's death. Though we still don't know who actually gave the order to kill Anita. It definitely wasn't Lamb. It was someone. Maybe it was Link. We don't know. We don't really have any clues. Apart from the fact that she, sadly, is gone. And when we come back, we'll go into there and see what's on that card. Hopefully something important. There's going to be something very important. And so, I'll catch you next time, folks, and I'll see you then. Later.